Good morning, everyone. My name is Theodore Bracatzelos, Secretary of the Axion Estin Foundation. It is my absolute pleasure and delight to welcome you here this morning at the second symposium of the Axion Estin Foundation.
Let us lift up our hearts in prayer. We offer our prayers this morning to you, O God, giver of life, light, beauty, wisdom, love, and truth. We thank you for deeming us worthy to partaking of these great gifts. We ask you to keep always conscious of the tremendous treasures bestowed on us, to be collaborators with you in enhancing life in our environment by word, by music, by art, by science. We ask you to bless the works of this conference so that with whatever we think, say, or do, be always the builders of something better for today and tomorrow. Amen.
Your Eminence, distinguished guests and professors, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to invite Professor Stefan Blum, who is the director of the Ethnomusicology department here at the Graduate Center, and it's an opportunity to acknowledge his help for organizing this symposium because he arranged for us to have additional rooms at the music department. So Professor Blum, please, and thank you very much.
On behalf of the doctoral programs in music here at the Graduate Center, I'm honored to welcome so many distinguished people, singers, scholars, distinguished people from the Orthodox Church, and others who share an interest in the rich tradition of Byzantine chant. We're delighted that the Axion Estin Foundation has chosen the Graduate Center as the venue for the second symposium on Byzantine music education. Speaking for myself, I'm tremendously impressed by the commitment and energy shown by the board and supporters of the foundation in organizing this symposium and in plans for future projects. I wish each of you a deeply satisfying experience during the next 3 days and in your further involvement with this wonderful music and the values it articulates so profoundly.
I would like to invite Dr. Helen Evans. He's the head curator for the Byzantine Galleries at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And also thank her again for facilitating our communication with the Metropolitan Museum and making last night's event possible. Those of us who were present, we realized that it was, as they call it, sold out. And one reason for this, besides our sponsors, and we are honored to have with us today Mr. Dimos, the chairman of the Kalinikion Foundation, who was one of the major sponsors of this event, and also Mr. Dimitris Vissas, who is also with us today. So, Dr. Helen Evans.
I feel like I'm in another world. I am a person who appreciates and wants others to appreciate the greatness of Byzantine culture and its visual voice. And it has also been very important to me that we would look at the literature and the music. So in 1997, we had the great honor when we did the Gloria Byzantium of having the Angelopolis Choir. And in 2004, Capella Romana sang at the Met. And I am so very delighted that you now have a symposium that you are building that will make people more and more aware of this incredible musical tradition. So the Met looks forward to more concerts with more and more people as more and more events like last night's were sold out. And we hope you great success in the future.
We're privileged to have with us today the director of the Queen's College program in Modern Greek and Byzantine Studies, Professor Ioannidis.
Here at Axion Foundation, I was thinking last night what to say, and I went back and read Axion Evyodicias Elitis. So what I want to say very briefly is that Byzantine music is not just the music of our church, but is embedded in our culture and related profoundly to our Greek identity. Just think about Elitis, Μακρινή μητέρα, Ρόδο, O Ρόδο Amaranto. It's about Panagia. Means our mother, a rose that is always fresh, that it was sung by Grigoris Bithikotsis with the music, an action of Thodorakis, who himself has been profoundly again influenced by Byzantine music. So Byzantine music fulfills two roles, I believe. One is spiritual, and the other, it fills our emotions as Greek Orthodox. And let me say the poem of Cavafy when he goes into the church and what he feels when he's in the church. He feels the incense, the smell, and the melodies of Byzantine music, and this brings to him the essence of being Greek. He says, εκεί σαν μπω μέσα στις εκκλησίες των Γρεκών, με των θυμιαμάτων της Εὐωδίας, με τις λειτουργικές φωνές και συμφωνίες, ο νους μου πηγαίνει σε τιμές μεγάλες της φυλής μας, στον έδοξο μας βυζαντινισμό. Thank you.
For this symposium, I'm privileged to announce that the National Forum and through the National Chairman, Dr. Vicky Papas, has also funded our transcription from the original Byzantine music texts to the Western music texts. So we have available both notations for the needs of this symposium. So I would like to invite Dr. Vicky Papas and also thank her on behalf of Axion Estin Foundation for their collaboration.
Thank you, Angelo. Your Eminence and distinguished guests and fellow church musicians. I bring you, and I'm very pleased to bring you greetings from the National Forum of Greek Orthodox Church Musicians, which is the ministry of our archdiocese in America charged with supporting the development of liturgical music in our parishes. The forum works in 4 areas, actually, one of them being support and development of choirs, another being support and development of liturgical music programs for youth, another being support of clergy and the development of their liturgical music programs in their parishes, and most relevant to this conference, support and development of chanters. The importance of this conference to our archdiocese is that it is addressing the need for new and young chanters who will assist and eventually take the place of our older, long-time dedicated chanters who are leaving or no longer able to continue to chant at the Analogion. Fortunately, we find there's great interest in Byzantine chant among our young people and those coming to the faith. And fortunately, we are seeing the growth of schools of Byzantine chant in many of our metropolises. And fortunately, we have organizations such as Axion Estin who are raising awareness and providing us with more knowledge about our ancient tradition of liturgical music. So I add to my greetings, my congratulations, and thank you to the Axion Estin Foundation and the conference organizers and donors who bring to our country and to this city some of the foremost teachers of Byzantine chant. Professor and Archon Protopsautis Lykurgos Angelopoulos, Professor Haldaikis, Professor Anastasiou, Professor Michael Adamis, and from our own seminary, Professor Fotios Ketsazis. For the next 3 days, I'm sure we will benefit and be inspired by their knowledge, their gifts, their demonstrations, and their love of our ancient ecclesiastical music. I might add that the National Forum has recently embarked on another project that should complement the work of the Axion Estin Foundation. To help support and expand the training opportunities for those interested in learning to chant, we've established a Byzantine music education initiative within our structure. The purpose of this initiative will be to provide a space for teachers of chant to come together to share their ideas and resources, to discuss common concerns, and to develop solutions to address those concerns. It will also serve as a vehicle for increasing coordination and communication among the schools and individual instructors that are burgeoning across our metropolises. So we begin this day and this conference buoyed by the grandeur and beauty of what we heard last night in the Temple of Dander, and inspired by the presence of such esteemed and dedicated teachers and musicologists who have come here to work with us. The National Forum is pleased to have played a part in bringing this event to fruition, and we look forward to these next days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Papas. We've started earlier with an ethnomusicologist from here, from the Graduate Center, Professor Stefan Blum, and we're closing with another young Greek ethnomusicologist, Director of Greek Studies at Drexel University, Dr. Maria Chranaki. And if I recall correctly, her PhD is in folk music and from the Cretan tradition, if I recall correctly. So this is one major element of this second Axion Estin Symposium, that we have the privilege to work with the ethnomusicologist and identify or evaluate any interaction that there is. And for instance, we have tomorrow at 3 p.m. one major event open to the public, the lecture by a doctoral student here, musicologist Ersi Ioannidou, who will give a talk on the internal relationship between Byzantine chant and folk music.
I believe we are who we are because of the education we had and continue to have in our lives. My education started before I was even born on an informal way, because my father, who lives in Crete and is a medical doctor by profession, has been collecting Byzantine music since then. So I was exposed to those sounds from the moment that I can remember life. I then studied in the newborn music studies department in Athens, where I had the pleasure to have professors such as Gregory Stathis and Achilleas Chaldeakis, who I'm very happy to see here again today, who taught me a lot about the art of Byzantine music. At the same time, I was exposed to Lykourgos Angelopoulos and his chorus, and I became a friend with many members like Kostas Lanaras from Agrinio, who is here among us today, and I'm very glad to see as well. Then I came to the United States to pursue graduate studies in ethnomusicology, and I'm now the director of Greek studies at Drexel University in Philadelphia, serving under a very innovative and insightful educator who is the president of the university, and we are proud of because he's also Greek, Dr. Konstantin Papadakis. Building a program in Greek studies, the biggest challenge we have is to convince people that we are not either ancient or modern, but Greekness is one thing, and more importantly, there is the Byzantine period of time, which unfortunately we tend to forget. The Byzantine period of time is not only important because of its religious aspect, but all the arts and sciences that were developed then. Therefore, it's with great pleasure that I salute the Symposium on Music Education, also because I had the pleasure to meet in person on St. Thomas Sunday, May 2004, His Eminence, Archbishop Dimitrios, and we spoke a lot about music, and I was fascinated to know that a religious person is so well educated as well on the art of music, among many other things too. Yesterday, the Archbishop at his speech at the cathedral underlined the importance of change in our lives. I believe that that sort of change can come through education, and therefore I salute again the attempt of the Axion Estin Foundation, because I believe it is indeed today worthy to attend many speeches and lectures and events organized by multicultural educators who eventually will make us bring harmony in our lives. Thank you.
Archbishop Dimitrios will offer some remarks at this point.
Thank you. Distinguished members of this stage and distinguished participants in the symposium, Mr. Lambousis, professors, and friends. This is a very nice occasion to be together in this symposium on Byzantine music. I would like to congratulate the Axion Estin organization, foundation, for creating for a second time this symposium, and for the continuous efforts to promote in a really substantive way the Byzantine music. I would like also to express my deep thanks to my good friend, maestro and chanter and choir director, Mr. Angelopoulos, who came from Athens. And also I happen to be connected and know some of the other people that are with him, especially Professor Adamis, who is here, Michael Adamis, a very, very distinguished composer and coordinator of the Byzantine and the modern musical idiom in many of his works. I see also a very good friend here, the well-known lawyer, Mr. Meni Dimos, the legal counselor of the Archdiocese and involved with the Kalinikion, which has been involved in these kind of affairs like the symposium here. If I may offer one or two thoughts on this opening of the symposium, thanking the people who spoke very briefly and without applauding. I asked Professor Bloom, is it a tradition here not to applaud the speaker? He said, I don't know. Obviously, people seem to be paralyzed from what they hear, and they cannot applaud. The Byzantine music is not a simple thing. It's not music. It's much more than music. You go to the melodic aspect of Byzantine music, you go to the harmonic aspect of Byzantine music, you go to the rhythmic aspect of Byzantine music. In all of them, innovation and amazing production. There is no end in all these kind of things. Even the harmonic, the simple harmonic thing used in the Byzantine, known as the Axion. You have the choir singing first voice, and you have the second line singing an Axion, which is a somehow straight, even kind of bass kind of accompaniment. Even this is not a simple thing, especially when you go to pieces which require double Axion or other things like that. So there you have, here you have in the Byzantine music a wealth. And yes, last night Mr. Lambousis mentioned in his introduction the fact that Byzantine music cannot be performed in a keyboard because of the limitation of tone and half tone. Would be played in a violin, of course, because then you have the possibility to go to the minimal kind of divisions between tones. But that's another thing, again, of another achievement of Byzantine music, this kind of tremendous elasticity in dealing. And you know what, when you mentioned that last night, I thought of the contemporary music, the pentatonic system by Schoenberg, or the atonic system of modern music. We seem to be reaching a music where there is no music. And don't take it as a joke. Because you hear something and say, now, can you detect any melody here? There is no melody. Can you detect any harmony? There is no harmony. Any rhythm? Total chaos. Is that a music? Yeah, they say. That's a non-music music. Byzantine is a really remedy in these kind of things because they were very avant-garde people, but they were very careful in keeping with music as a function that has to function as such. Music is music. If you would like to do something else, you produce a new system called noise. You might have experiments in noise of all kinds of sorts, all qualities, all kinds of patterns. It would be an amazing field, but it's not music, because it doesn't offer any pleasing feeling and doesn't enhance our emotional or spiritual condition. There is something, I would like to close with that. There is something else in the Byzantine music. Byzantine music today is not a retro movement. We are not going back. This kind of music is there and is going to be there forever. It belongs to the eternal achievements in art, and therefore it cannot be affected by any time. So the application of time, of past or present or future, is not really valid. Byzantine music is there, was there, is going to be there. Because of the quality, because of the achievement. But Byzantine music conveys at the same time, in addition to the purely music, conveys a tremendous wealth of text, of literature. I mean, if you read the matins and vespers, but matins more, vespers and other services, you read not only the music, you read the text. The texts there are really among the highest products in poetic language. Even ordinary services, and especially when you go to the usage of iamvika, the so-called iamvikes katavasies. Yesterday, for instance, we have the Stivi Thalasis Kimatumeni Salo. I mean, if you go to the language of this kind of thing, forget the music. It's a masterpiece. You are astonished how they managed in 5 verses with a succession of strophes and stanzas to create a whole rich theological context in which the music just rolls beautifully. So Byzantine music is a combination of so many things, melodically, harmoniously, rhythmically, and in terms of content. The volumes and volumes of the production. both musical and poetic. The specialists in Byzantine music know and can speak about the rhythm called trisimos. It's a three-quarters kind of tempo. You should know that in the Byzantine chant, there are rhythms and meters followed, which are not the ordinary 3/4 or 2/4 or 4/4. You might have even 5/4, a rhythmic pattern used by Latin American, modern Latin American music. You find it in the Byzantine music. Unusual kind of rhythmic patterns. So I hope that this symposium will offer not simply a recognition of the tremendous wealth that is the Byzantine music, but also offer to all the participants and all of us the possibility to see the immensity of possibilities, the potential that is simply inexhaustible. Thank you for what you are doing, and God bless these days that follow with the offering by the professors, erudites, and simple people here. Thank you. No applauding.